Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you to the first ever in Graham County Shark Tank. We are really excited about tonight. We appreciate you guys being here, and most of all, we appreciate our participants this evening. We can't wait to share them with you, to share part of their stories with you. It's going to be a really fun evening tonight. We're grateful that you guys are here. Before we get started tonight, just a little bit of housekeeping. We all have lives that are going on, but if you would not mind muting your phone, all right? If you need to keep it on, totally okay, but if you wouldn't mind putting your phone on mute so we don't interrupt our presenters tonight, that would be greatly appreciated. As we get started tonight, we do have some very important people that we need to recognize, and that's our sponsors for this evening and for those who have donated packages, in-kind packages, as prizes for our participants this evening. We'd like to recognize, of course, Freeport McMoran Foundation. It is only because of their donation to this program that we've been able to make this happen tonight. We also appreciate the local First Arizona Foundation, who's been our fiduciary agent in handling the funds as we've gone through this process. We also appreciate the Eastern Arizona College Small Business Development Center. Feels a little weird thanking yourself, but we want to recognize the SBDC. We appreciate the Graham County Chamber of Commerce, CMI Quick Copy, Double R Communications, WIC Communications, and the Eastern Arizona Courier, Trophies and Tees, and of course, the David M. Player Center for the Arts. We appreciate Terry and Heath and all the hours that they've already put into this. For those of you who don't know, who didn't get a chance to see our Facebook page tonight, we are streaming this live this evening. So if you have any friends or family who cannot be here tonight, shoot them a quick text, reference over to our page, and you can they can watch this evening if they weren't able to attend. So tonight we have 7 businesses who've completed the process to be here tonight. They're competing for over $20,000 in cash and prizes that will be given out this evening. Whether it's in starting up a new business or whether they're trying to scale their business and increase capacity for that. This process actually began about a year ago as the Graham County Leadership Cohort, which was launched in 2016 by Freeport McMoran and was facilitated by the ASU Lodestar Center, had a goal to support leadership development here in our community and wanted to develop some measurable outcomes as a strategy to support our communities. As part of that, our local leaders had identified some very important things that as a community we needed, and one of those was economic development. And so the measurable outcomes that they came out as part of that was trying to increase the number of businesses that are developed here in our area, businesses that could be attracted to our area, or how do we keep businesses here that are already here that we don't want to lose. Those were very important keys that they wanted to do. Out of that cohort that was created about 2.5 years ago, this Shark Tank idea came to life. We've actually begun this process back in January of how this is going to be going. So in partnership with the SBDC and in collaboration with the local First Arizona Foundation, tonight is not only a reward for entrepreneurship, but it's also a celebration of doing something that we've tried for a decade to try to do, and that was to try and find ways of being able to get funding into the hands of local small businesses who are trying to drive our economy here. So in July, we started with over 20 businesses who began this journey to try and be here tonight. Of those 20 businesses, we had 7 of those businesses came to us through the Dream Builder program, which is a collaboration between FMI and the, make sure I get this right, Charmaine, between FMI and the Thunderbird School of International Management, Global Management. They've put together an amazing program, and we'll talk more about Dream Builder a little bit later in the evening. Beginning in August, through August and September, and even into October, every one of these participants participated in a series of trainings to help them get them ready for this evening. And in the last 3 weeks, it's been a little intense, hasn't it? As we've gone through business plan development, pitch development, the selection committee, which happened 2 weeks ago, which has narrowed the process down to our 7 participants this evening. So participants, we're going to introduce you now. So if you wouldn't mind standing as we read your name and turn around and let us give you a huge round of applause. We want to present to you our 7 finalists. Misty Thompson, with Mystified Enlightenment. Josh Ornelas from Earthwork Farm and Bait. Loretta Tucson, Kinder Prep Academy. Francis Martinez from The Plank. Jennifer Brice, The Fixed Med Spa. Sandra Gaines, Healthcare Registry. And finally, Dallas Seminole with Dirty Beaver Brewing. And they are all so excited to be on the stage tonight. We should have put towels underneath their seats from the sweat coming up on this evening. So anyway, so here's how tonight is going to go. Each presenter is going to have a 5-minute, what we call an elevator pitch. They're going to have 5 minutes to present to our sharks. Those sharks then are going to have approximately 7 to 10 minutes to drill into those ideas, to kind of pull a little bit more information out of them. Now, our sharks have already been given business plans, one-page summaries, and over the course of the last week and a half, they've been digging through those business plans and have a very good understanding. So our businesses, our presenters know that, and our sharks are very well prepared for this evening. Each participant's going to get a chance to be able to get up and ask and present their ask. Here's what I need, here's what I'm looking for, and here's what I'm going to do with those funds, whatever it might be that'll be contributed to then. At the conclusion of our last one, we are then going to seclude our judges to a previously undisclosed location, and we're going to let them deliberate about how they're going to either spread those dollars amongst everybody. Are we going to have one winner? Are we going to have 7 winners? I have no idea. We've given them no direction. We have not guided this through the process. My job was to get you here tonight. It's their job to give you the money, which I wanted nothing to do with. So we're super excited for you guys. Well, with nothing else left to say other than to introduce our judges, let's welcome our judges to the stage. We have Letty Garcia from Tony's Kitchen. Jeff Monteith from Freeport McMoran Safford Operations. Preston Owens from Safford Builders, Ace Hardware. Nick Tellez from the La Paloma Restaurant. And finally, Laura Tolman from CMI Quick Copy. To be honest, I don't know who's more nervous tonight, our presenters or our judges. Judges, you got microphones there. You're welcome to use those as you need. Are we ready tonight? Are we nervous? No. We're nervous, but we're excited. And again, thank you. So we are going to jump right into it tonight, and let's get things started. Our first presenter tonight, we want to welcome to the stage Misty Thompson with Mystified Enlightenment.
So before I get started really quick, the bags there are part of my presentation, and it's just to help let you know what I'm using for my program that I'm going to be talking about. And go. There we go. So I want to do a little introduction. My name is Misty Thompson, and I am the owner of Mystified Enlightenment. And I wanted to let you know that I started my business back in February of 2016. And I started the business because I want to help people on their path. And this started because of my sister. In 1993, my sister, Stephanie Prophet, was missing, and she was missing, and ultimately, she was found, and we had her funeral. I'll just say it like that. And because of that, that has really drawn me to help people. And I want to use my gifts. So I am a spiritual life coach. I am a psychic medium. I am an author. I'm a mind-body-spirit practitioner. And this has geared me to do all this to help people on their path. Make sure I do this right. There we go. There we go. So it's the mission of my company to help clients. I want to help them on their path, whatever that may be. I want them to find their purpose. I want them to feel validated, and I want them to obtain clarity in whatever it is that they need to do and want to do. So really quick, I want to go over the funding, and I know the Sharks have seen this, but I've given 3 options. However, the first one I'm going to talk about is based on time, is $7,500 for this mindfulness program. And I'm going to get into that in just a second. But the mindfulness program is what will help, or the funds will help fund this mindfulness program. It will also help do a book like you have in your bag that will be a companion to the course. Okay, so the problems we're solving in our community, I feel very strongly about this, and before I get into that, I know that there's a lot of us that have had some of these concerns or know somebody who have. And these are addiction recovery, building self-esteem within our youth, well, anybody, but our youth, that will promote better life choices, reduce loneliness for our seniors, the elderly who are lonely, grief, those who are struck with grief, anxiety, pain management, employee productivity, and balancing just general life responsibilities. And the solution that will help all of these and more is mindfulness. It's a holistic approach. It is has scientific proven results, and you can do it in a group or an individual setting. And I did put a disclaimer because if people are being seen by a psychologist or a physician, they should not stop doing that. But mindfulness is a great tool to incorporate. So mindfulness, it is the practice of maintaining a non-judgmental state of awareness at all times. So it's being present in the situation. It's being aware of what's going on around you. So some of these examples that we all do every day and we just don't realize it: meditation, prayer, deep breathing, exercise, yoga, and active listening. So these are very important, and there's so many other ways for mindfulness, but these are just a few that the program would definitely incorporate. So mindfulness can help us in several ways, and I wanted to do the mind, body, spirit, and emotional. So for the mind, it keeps our thoughts from wandering. It keeps us, all those to-do lists in our mind, it helps keep those in control, in check. For our body, we're able to be aware of our body, and we're able to respond accordingly, however our bodies are feeling, and we can respond. For our spirit, we need that connection to that higher power. For me, it's God. For other people, it could be something else, but the Creator. And mindfulness can help with that. And also your emotions. When you honor your feelings in healthy ways, you're able to get a better control of them, and you're able to control the emotions. So my target market is definitely women. Those are the clients I currently see. And addiction recovery, the elderly, and other. And I say other because those are mainly men and also teens and youth. So here is so far the projected profit and loss of my company. And 2018, of course, I'm still getting my programs up and running. So of course I have a loss, but based on my projections, I will be, in 4 years, based on my projected spending, I will be definitely having a profit. So I want to ask of the judges, of the sharks, that I would hope that you would work with me to help our community be more mindful and be less mindful. Because, our minds are always crazy. So that's what I would ask of the sharks. Thank you. Now, of course, I'll open it up to questions. It's like, who's first?
I'll ask.
Yeah.
Primarily, where does your customer base come from? Are they coming from out of town, or are they just coming in for a session and then leaving town?
Right. Well, currently I have 97 clients, and the majority of those are based in town. And I do see clients usually regularly. And by regularly, I see them, I'm trying to think, maybe once every 2 to 3 months. So I do have a lot of returning clients. I do have clients all over the world that I see clients over, of course, Zoom or, on the phone. And we talk not only about mindfulness, which is a big part of my program. I mean, just seeing clients one-on-one. But yeah, I see a lot of variety, but a lot of them are from the local community. Yeah.
So one of the things that we're looking for are opportunities to create jobs.
Absolutely.
Does this in any way create other jobs. It sounds
Yeah.
a bit like it's a one-person show.
Well, it is because I have to be right now. But my goal is to open it up, to have an assistant to help me with that. And I know that's a big part of it. And I would be happy to offer a job. I've offered jobs to my daughter and my son, and they're not really interested in it. But but I would really like to have somebody help me with all aspects of it, whether it's a mindfulness coach or a meditation coach or a yoga instructor or whatever it is. I would love to have them part of the team. And right now, I just don't have the funds for it.
Can you tell me, are you a licensed therapist? What sort of certifications qualify you
for
this?
like a meditation guide? You don't need any certifications. I have done a lot of online training, and I've seen mentors in Phoenix, and they've certified me in different areas. But there is no licensing, which I can't believe that, and I would imagine it will be coming because it's starting to become a bigger deal. But there's no licenses or certifications actually needed.
So are you not actually a therapist? I mean, it's
No, I'm not a therapist
Okay.
at all. No, I am. I'm a certified. I was certified by someone else who teaches meditation. So I'm a meditation guide, is what they
Meditation
call
guide.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I'm just a spiritual life coach. So I've had those types of trainings.
So I had an opportunity to look at your website, which
Yeah.
I thought was very well done.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations. And
Thank
your
you. I did that
Facebook page.
myself.
But how much, so I saw what your course offerings were on
Yes.
the website. How much of your business is generated through the website versus just word of mouth or others within the community?
Right. Well, locally from the community, it's pretty much word of mouth. That's how I get a lot of my clients, word of mouth community. For out of the country and, of course, out of state, a lot of it is through the website. So it really varies. And I do a lot of things in Tucson, and they are also through the website. So I try to keep that updated quite a bit just to make sure. And what I do is I have, like I said, my mentors, and I advertise through their websites. And I send messages through their mailing list to make sure my mailing list grows. And it's been slowly trickling, getting there. But a lot of it is just, both, I guess you could say. Locally, it's just one-on-one, and it's all through word of mouth, and out of state and out of town, it's through the website.
So, Misty, just let me
Yeah.
tell you that whatever you're selling, I'm buying.
Thank
Currently, right now,
you.
I love yoga. I love mindfulness.
Oh, good. Thank you.
I have a question about how revenue is being generated.
Of course.
Is it
Absolutely.
service? Is it products? How's
Right.
how is
Right
it
now, it's products and services. I wanted to display because really this is free advertising, so so I'm not gonna lie. But so I do have books. I've wrote a book about my sister, and the Happy Thoughts playbook that you guys have in your bag, I displayed it here because it's something similar I would use as a companion book. But yeah, it's both. It's both services and it's also products. And I would have to say it's probably mostly services. Me doing readings, coaching people, doing my fairs in Tucson, that kind of thing. But mainly services.
Okay, could you on your milestones and matrices, you have a I believe it's about school, something about
Yes,
selling
yeah.
that. Can you explain to me more about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, my goal is to teach mindfulness in the schools here in town. There's a lot of suicides with our teens, and I feel like it is a lot to do with the self-esteem and self-confidence, and it's hard being a teen these days, I know. And so I would like to start it in the schools, and eventually it would be great to have it in all the schools in all the areas. But even starting with the little kids, I think that's important for them to know that no matter what happens, they need to be proud of who they are and look inside by using mindfulness and meditation to listen to their own guidance and their own soul and make decisions based on that.
That's a great idea. I love that.
Thanks.
How is that going to turn into revenue?
Right, of course. Well, I am working on doing an online class. So the online class will be mindfulness, and it is I would do the ones in person to the school, but I'd be using the same program. And of course, I would, I don't know if that would be just a free thing, because my thing is the community. That's number one. But my goal is to put a program in place online, and then we could have weekly coaching sessions with me. And when they finish the program, they can have an individual session and a group coaching session as well. And so that's my goal, is to put it online and, advertise it that way, and people can do it at their own pace. But at the same time, we could have group sessions. Yeah, that's how the revenues would be made.
Just one last question.
Of course,
on the
yeah,
online
anything.
stuff, one of the things I'm not clear about, are
Okay,
the online
sure.
services taxable? Is that revenue that's generated taxable if it's done online?
No. All my services, I don't charge taxes, so therefore, are you talking about like end of the year taxes?
Like income
because
taxes
income,
that you would
yes,
have
it
to
is
pay as a
income.
business. So
Yeah,
even
it
though
is
it's
income.
a service rendered over the internet, it's
Yes,
still taxable
yeah.
local.
Yes.
Have you considered teaming up with like the health services here locally?
Yeah, I have. I've actually started with the addiction recovery first, and I have talked to one of the clinics here, or one of the recovery centers here, so they can use my services. And I haven't done that yet because I'm still trying to work on the program. I need to get it up and going. But yeah, that's my goal, is to talk to the different doctors' offices, the different psychologists, the counseling offices, that kind of thing, for sure.
So can you tell us specifically how you will use the funds if you're awarded?
Yeah, of course.
This one here that says
Yes.
$2,000, what would that specifically go towards?
Yes. Well, if it's the main one, the $7,500, that would be used because for me to do the program online, it's $99 a month to use it, like on the Teachable website. That's the one I was using. I feel like that would be the best for my situation. So it's for that. In addition, it is to help publish a companion book, such as the one that you guys are received in your bag. It's expensive to get books published. So I don't mind. I can write it easy, not a problem. It's just getting it published and getting it printed. It costs a lot of money. So it's mainly for those two things. And then, any additional expenses, like I also put in your bag the intention cards, the daily intention cards, and I've already purchased those, but those were $200. And so when I run out, I'm going to have to buy more of those. So it's just to do the program itself and the companion products to go with it.
Okay, so you kind of already answered the question, but one of the questions, I like how you gave the 3 different amounts and said what you would do with them. That was
Right.
a nice breakdown.
Yes.
If we were able to award something that didn't hit one of these,
Correct.
would you still be able to utilize
Absolutely, yeah. I would just use what I could. It may not cover all the expenses of my program, but, I'm grateful for anything. And I'm not going to lie, I know this is a competition, but I think we all deserve a little piece of the pie, to be honest. We all worked hard, seriously. But, yeah, anything I would be grateful for anything, and I can make it work, for sure. Anything else? My time's probably up because you're right there.
Time is up.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Let's give Misty a round of applause. When I told her she was going to be first tonight, she looked at me with panic in her eyes. But I think she's going to go now and have a little meditation session, have a little mindfulness, right? You were already breathing. We're already in great shape. Excellent, excellent. So, Miss, if you guys want to go ahead and tear yours down. Josh, if you want to go ahead and get your stuff set up while we're getting. So, judges, how are we feeling? We getting settled in? Kind of getting our feet up underneath us a little bit? Awesome, awesome. Well, we're really excited about our judges tonight. For those of you who know a little bit about the SBDC, is every year we celebrate what are called our Success Awards through the SBDC. And we recognize throughout the state 12 different businesses that we've considered a success, and we celebrate them at a big event at the state capitol on the front lawn of the capitol. And it's kind of a really, really big event that we do. 2 of our judges tonight are actually recipients of that Success Award for Graham County. Letty Garcia from Tony's Kitchen and Nick Tellez from La Paloma. So anyway, we are really, really excited to have them on. And I just want you to know I didn't have a choice on the judges. These were all pre-selected, so I don't want you to think I'm giving like any favoritism to all of this. So anyway, I think we're all set. Are y'all ready? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage with me, if you would, Mr. Josh Ornelas with Earthworm Farm and Bait.
Hi, my name is Josh Ornelas. I'm owner and founder of Earthworm Farm and Bait. To start off, this business was a little bit of a spring up. Back in high school, we had presentations where we saw how the insects and animals decompose material. So I took it a step further and started creating farmable material, dirt. So starting off, so my product's going to be soil supplements, soil tea, biochar, and compostable material. This slide's going to be really short because it's easier just asking questions and answering questions. I hate PowerPoints. So sales would most likely be retail bulk sales in different amounts and potentially farmers and landscapers. A few months before material is ready, I would like to make contracts with local stores to sell my material, as well as branch out to Wilcox, Morenci, Silver City, and Globe, and wherever else I can get out further. As the process goes, more and more material will be made on my end and can be distributed further away to farmers markets and retail stores. Future plans. So creating a dumping station is for a compost area. Any waste that comes from our contractors or yard cleanups, anything organic, can be dumped on this property and reused. Everything. Creating a compost line to supply material as well as product. So everything that is biodegradable, I can feed to my worms. They eat everything. So, as well as creating another product for myself, get to use all the material. It's completely recyclable. Everything in this presentation is completely recyclable. So, Arizona Fish and Game has also given me permission to breed minnow and shad to add 2 more bait to my products. Since I am a worm farm, they kind of classify it as a hatchery. Works for me. They gave me 2 more products. So, I believe that's it. So we're just going to open up to questions because that's a lot easier.
Can you tell me what's in front of us?
Oh, yeah. Okay. You have the... All right, so I'm sorry. Lulu. There you go. All right, so I'm sorry. Not everybody can see this. These are going to be containers of material in 3 different process stages. And as you can see, A is going to be the little strangly ones with all the bulk, nasty material, which would be this one right here, this one right here. It's mostly coconut core husks and a material of food that's going to be whole grains, any grass, any plants, any wood chips. If you tear down a shirt enough, they'll eat your shirt. Any cotton, any material that's organic and can be decomposted is potential food. So letter B right here is going to be the process that I was left with to date. Luckily, I was able to get 3 months ahead and start this process without knowing Shark Tank was going to come. So this is the 3rd month in the process. And the material, as you can see, is broken down quite a bit. There's a lot less bulky material. And at this point, it's basically just potting soil. It's still really high in all the nutrients that's needed. And the process right here at the end is the final product. This is a C. You can see here, it's really clumpy. It's going to make a mess. It's really thick. This material you can actually not plant in. It is so high in the actual nutrients that it will burn a plant. It will not let anything grow in it at all. So basically, this product would be for somebody that is mixing material into their ground, or a pot plant, or anything in the house. You know, it's an extremely high grade organic soil. And now everything is actually going into a lot of organic scenes because people want organic food, organic plants for anything they want to eat. Fish, if you feed your your fish worms that are not chemically fed, they become organic. Chickens that are fed worms are organic at that point because they are not fed chemically changed material, corn feed or anything like that. So it becomes a organic product. So basically these guys just eat what I have a mix of here, and it's just a powder. It's all organic wheat, rice, corn, anything. They really do eat anything. It's ridiculous. And the amount that they eat is even more ridiculous. They eat 10 times their own body weight in a day, and they travel through the dirt, and they help the environment by creating all their tunnels through the thatch, as in the materials of thatch. And this helps with water distribution. It gives the organics, all the little organic organisms in the ground, a place to hide, a place to move, a place to work with. The worms also destroy all the bad ones. So your grass that comes up to a big brown spot in the winter, after the winter and comes spring, it's probably not just because it's not growing. It may have a bad organism there that's killing everything. So if you look at really healthy soil, really healthy plants, worms are usually the big process of it. And that's what I'm aiming for. So in the business, I'd be making these buckets that house the worms, and it's a process every 2 weeks that creates the soil. Be probably moving about 2 to 3 tons a month, depending on how much I want to push the business starting off. Sorry, I forgot these are questions.
And in dollars, what does that translate to?
So in dollars, starting off the process, I downsized quite a bit. I had the expectancy to use a 1,200 square foot building. This would give me probably about 4 tons per month of processed material. And the process actually takes 6 months to start. So the process would be to create a line every 2 weeks of material. And every 2 weeks, this material is churned and fed and whatnot. At the sixth month, it restarts the cycle. So every 2 weeks, you have a cleanable cycle with the material that's pushed out every 2 weeks.
Okay, you clearly know your stuff. I'm a food guy, so I thought this was Oreo cookie crumbs.
It's extremely.
And I'm glad you told me it wasn't, because
yes, it's extremely interesting.
Translate all that to us in terms of revenue. Like,
okay.
What are we looking at a month? What are we,
All right. So revenue, the process for changing up a couple different things. So like I said, you can't just use that material. It'll kill everything. So the process would be to mix materials. Basically, I'd start making my own products, just like you'd see at Miracle Grow or any other company. So depending on how you want to mix it is how much money you want to make. So cutting down from using my full potential in the building, I'm looking at about $45,000 a year net income, $87,000 for gross profit.
Explain to me net income.
So the net income is after all the deductions of material, the rent, whatever.
Okay.
Whatever I.
Profitability,
yes.
or okay.
Profitability.
If this battery's working any better. So are you going to market both fertilizer and the bait? you had mentioned minnows and shad.
Yeah.
And how do you plan on packaging this material? What size containers? Obviously, with Ace Hardware, we sell fertilizers, and that's something that we're interested in. But I'm curious about how you plan on marketing and packaging that.
Okay. So the material, starting off with the dirt, would be packaged just like any other packaging plastic bag that you would heat wrap. You know how we get in compost and stuff, as we already do in the stores. I would have my heat wrap material, whether I want to retail the worms as a bucket for a much lower price, considering that I'm here in town, and branch out further and further with that, or I can completely sell my stock, my overstock, to an actual distributor again. I'm working with a guy from Phoenix that I'm going to be getting the worms from. The worms are actually from here in Arizona, from Sholo, and they are Goliath. They are huge. They're about half an inch thick and about 9 inches long. They're like little mini snakes. Yeah, sorry if that grossed you out. Yeah. So retail-wise, I can distribute them to the distributors. I can retail to the stores. I can also have a general area in my commercial lot that people can come just pick up buckets. They want to. It's retail and distributing is like 1,000 worms for $80, and that's through the internet. That's like the distributors, how they range it. So I don't know, 1,000 worms for $80 will get you a long way with fishing.
So this, you mentioned that you had purchased, I believe you said, a 1,200 square foot building.
Yes,
This is on your own property at your house, or?
I'm renting a commercial property right now, and I'm putting up the building. I'm kind of waiting to see how things go right now. I do plan to keep the property, but the building I can hold off on and use my current building, my house, to start. Instead of incurring more debt, it would be safer for me to be smart.
So are there any specific zoning requirements, with doing this? It's a business, it's agricultural, I'm guessing. I don't know what the qualifications are.
Agricultural supplements. There's no really big factor as long as it's commercial land. I mean, starting the business in the house, there are a few hoops to jump through, but as long as nobody starts coming to the house and parking for a store and coming in to purchase, there is really no issue starting off in the house. The commercial lot, there would be no issue at all. There's no regulations. It's just another business, basically. They can come in, park, and grab the material or the items.
So, are you planning to sell to the end user, or are you wanting to sell? I can talk loud. Are you wanting to sell to someone like Preston, who would then distribute it? I'm not sure which direction you're trying to go.
I can sell. Like I said, the internet's become an amazing thing. You can sell a lot of stuff on the internet. People that can't usually get the items, this is a out-of-the-box item. So the main competitors are actually in Wyoming, Tennessee, where it's green and easy to get this material. So you can sell over the internet to other people, but my main area would be going towards retail, going to Ace. Farmers markets are a big game change. Phoenix, Tucson has tons of them.
So you're looking to get into where you're selling to retail stores.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if I can cut out a middleman, sorry, Preston. If I can cut out a middleman, it would work.
I just am not.
Yeah, it's basically creating a product, and since it is my product, I can deal where I want to deal.
So how much, in here it says you're asking for $10,000.
Yeah.
I'll ask you the same question I asked the last person. What specifically would you do with that $10,000? What would you purchase with it?
The $10,000 would actually be reinvested to a larger loan. I'm looking to put that money to double it or triple it. I have offers from a lending company that would give me 30 to 40, pushing that side.
So if you get the 30 from the other lending company, what then do you do with that 30 grand?
Okay, so that is basically running cost. Right now, I've paid for everything pretty much out of pocket. I have forklifts, I have buildings, land. I've actually had, from the material you guys see here, test buckets running. I can't really bring them to you. I wish I could have. But there's a lot of, if you look in B, babies. So the process is working. That's basically what I've been doing at this point. When I get the money, it is going to be for running. It takes 6 months, like I said, to create an actual product. So for those 6 months, I got to pay for the material, which is not actually quite a lot, but to be safe, better to be safe than crash and burn right at the beginning.
So how much do you have under production right now? You're testing it in buckets, but how much is
There's not any, this material cannot be used because as far as their test buckets, it's just basically contaminated. There's not, it's not regulated at any point. So when you create a line, you would pick up your coconut or your base materials you know that work and keep the product the same. You can't just mix and match to see what's going on. I did that to start because I found that compost with a lot of antibiotics killed everything. I went through about 2,000 worms with that mistake. So, lesson learned, I found the right material and they did start to breed again. So that's basically where it's at. I just didn't want to throw everything into a bucket, so to say, and start full force because it's a really good thing I didn't.
So just so I understand, so you said if you got the $10,000, you would use some of that to cover operating costs, which makes sense. I didn't really follow the turn that into 3 or 4 times that amount.
So
if that falls through, then where do you end up if you only get the 10 and half of it goes into operating costs and you're not able to flip it into another?
The 10 actually goes. So when I bought all my equipment, there was one card I used most of my cash and put on a card to start the business credit side of it. So when I went to the lender, they told me, hey, bring this card down by 50%, and that's roughly eight grand. So it's not a hefty sum, but pulling $8 grand out of a hat is not an easy task, especially if you put yourself in a even tighter spot in the process.
So they'll loan you the money if you get that debt down.
Yes. Anything else?
Let's give a great round of applause
That would be it.
to Mr. Josh
Thank you very
Ornelas.
much.
Josh, they probably want those worms off. The judges stand up there. All right, you can see we've got a pretty diverse group tonight, even just with the first two. You're probably thinking, oh my gosh, what is going on with these businesses here locally? So it's been so much fun over the last almost 12 weeks now as we've worked with them, and the broad base. And this is just 7 of the business ideas that were brought this evening. We had 13 other people who had just as diverse and just as exciting and just as strong business opportunities as we are showing here tonight. We now are going to welcome to the stage Miss Loretta Tucson from the Kinder Prep Academy.
Well, I am super excited to be here, and I just have to say that I would much rather talk to about 500 preschoolers than 5 Shark Tank judges, so no offense. Well, let's see. Let me get my show started here. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Well, my name is Loretta Tucson, and I am the owner of Kinder Prep Academy Preschool. And I decided to open a preschool because I had been a public school teacher for 23 years, and I needed to do something that was more financially lucrative for my family. So I took my expertise as a teacher and my love of teaching and opened my business. And I've been able to use that expertise to brand my program, hence the name Kinder Prep Academy, and prepare kids to head on to kindergarten and be successful. We do provide a quality preschool program, and I'm sure that all of you understand the importance of those early years of education for our young children. So we opened our doors in 2015, and I had 10 students, and I was ecstatic. It was wonderful. And as you can see, we have grown a little bit, or quite a bit, each year. And we ended in 2017, last school year, with 30 students. And we were at our capacity based on state licensing regulations for the building that we were in. And so at that point, I knew that if my business was going to grow and expand, we needed to relocate. And so we did that over the summer. We found a wonderful building on the main highway in town, and we currently have 53 students enrolled in our program. And so just with relocating and having a bigger space, we've been able to increase our numbers quite a bit. So this has all happened also through minimal money spent on advertising. Our best advertisers have been our happy families and our happy kids. So that's kind of something that we're very, very proud of, our reputation that we've built in the community. So now that we have a much larger space, we are hoping to grow next year, possibly to 85 students. We have the capacity through state licensing to have up to 185 students in our facility that we are in. So as you can see, there's a lot of potential for growth in this business. Also, we have a growing mining community, and we need to fill that need for incoming families and incoming students in our community. So I just wanted to share a little bit with you about the gaps. And in Graham County, we have a little over 2,400 families with preschool-aged children, and only 27.5% of those are actually attending preschool. So we're missing some students, and a lot of it comes from the current programs that are already full. A lot of students in our community attend in-home preschools, which are wonderful, but they are not licensed, and therefore are not held to the same standards that a licensed facility is. We have about 46% of students that should be attending preschool. So we're lacking there. There's a need that's not being met. We're not taking from existing programs. We just are here to take in kids that can't get into other facilities, other programs. Let's see. I believe our school is very well sustainable. We have the capacity to grow. I think what holds us back, the main thing right now is staffing. We have to abide by child to teacher ratios, and so we've been operating with myself and family members that volunteer their time because they have a belief in what I do. Sorry. So what I'm asking, I wanted to share a facility with you because this is something I'm super proud of. The before picture and what we have currently, and this is something that we've spent a lot of time and money getting getting up and running, and I'm very, very proud of our new home. So I wanted to share that with you. Thank you. So I am asking the Sharks for $10,000, and I wanted to ask for like all 20,000, but since we teach our preschoolers that we have to share, I figured that I better share as well. So the way I would use the 10,000 would be to pay down debt that we've incurred through this move. We've been lucky enough to work with some local contractors that knew I didn't have the money up front, and so we pay them monthly. But if I could pay down some of that debt, I would be able to start paying our staff, and therefore they would work more, and then we would be able to have more kids, and then they'd get paid those big teacher bucks and then come and spend it in our community. So that's what I'm asking the Sharks for. And I did want to share this little bit of info on a rate of return on investment in kids. So I found this very interesting. For every dollar that's invested in children prior to them entering school, so prior to 5 years of age, for every dollar invested, you have, it's been found that the rate of return could be from between $4 and $16. So I have to say that's pretty good return on an investment. So, and I just want to, in preschool we do lots of warm fuzzies, and so I'm going to give each of the judges a nice warm fuzzy, and I'm going to leave you with a video of our students doing what we call our Kinder Prep Promise, which is something that we believe in and that we feel strongly about. This is it, and then I will get the kiddos, hopefully.
We are Kinder Prep Academy. We are kind. We are positive, and we always try our best. Go Bristol!
Thank you.
Okay, does this one work? All right. Thank you, Loretta, for doing the work that I'm glad you do and I don't. I love kids dearly, but kudos to you, and kudos to what you've established so far. So you say that your other teachers are volunteers?
Yes.
Okay, at the 85, you said you were hoping to do 85 students next year.
Right.
How many paid positions would that add?
That would add, well, the ratios are, for our youngest children, it would be 13 kids to 1 teacher. So our 85 aren't always all there at the same time, but I would say that I would comfortably like to add 3 paid positions. All 3 of my volunteers I would like to turn into paid positions.
So potentially three new paid employees.
Sure.
Not new, but
yes.
paid employees.
And actually that would be, for 85, I mean, we'd probably need another 2 additional part-time paid employees.
So almost as many as 5.
Right.
So with your hopes for 185, what are you looking at people-wise in 2 or 3 years?
For 185?
If you do 185 in students.
Oh, like 20.
20? Okay, so you could, in a couple of years, you could potentially be paying 20 people.
Yes.
Out of it. Okay.
Yes. And that might be, you know, I could. Right now we're doing 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, but I would eventually like to expand that into the younger children as well. So, you know, it could be even where we move to take in 2-year-olds and then 1-year-olds and infants. So it would be a whole range
Is that
of
something
ages.
that you're hoping for? Is that something you're shooting for? Is that a goal in the future?
Well, my passion is preschool. the preschool age, getting them ready for kindergarten. Being a kindergarten teacher, I like, I know what they need to know, and it feels good sending them off ready to learn. But I was lucky enough to have some experience working at the daycare in Morenci, and I wouldn't be opposed to that if we could get 185 preschoolers. That would be great.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Are you currently funded solely by tuition? Do you have any government funding, anything like that? Or is it just from tuition from the students?
Correct. It's just tuition from the students, a small family loan, and like I said, the local companies that have worked with me. We are a for-profit, and so in education, I have found that it's very, very hard to get funding or any kind of grants when you are a for-profit education program. So.
And I think I read in your paperwork somewhere about scholarships for. Were you saying you offer that, or some of the other locations offer that?
Some of the other locations do offer that. First Things First is very big on educating the young child. We did apply to become part of that program. They are limited to only 6, I think it's 5 or 6 facilities in the county, and they already have theirs. So I'm waiting and hoping that maybe they will take on another. But they do. First Things First will provide scholarships for children.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. That was easy.
Thanks, Loretta. It is so interesting to sit here and watch the body language of our presenters up here in front. And those that are done, they're like all chill and relaxed and like, oh, life is so good right now. Wendy's all doing her Misty's all doing her mindfulness over here. Josh is up here playing in his dirt. They're really, really enjoying their time, and all the rest of them are like biting fingernails and reviewing notes and scribbling on papers. So, anyway, this has been really, really fun so far. So, folks, what do you think so far? How are they doing? Are they doing okay? We are. This has just been fun. This has just been fun, and I wish that you had been able to have a chance to be able to participate with us over the course of the last 10, 12 weeks as we've worked with these. If you haven't noticed, these 7 are full of passion about their businesses, regardless of the outcome tonight. I have no doubt that all 7 of these are going to push forward and really make their businesses exactly what they want them to bring. They're going to bring some great services and great businesses to our local area here. So can we give our participants again one more round of applause for all they're doing? And would you continue that applause as we welcome our next presenter to the stage tonight, Francis Martinez with the plank.
How are you all doing this evening? I want to thank you for allowing me your time this evening. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Francis Martinez. Okay. Jeff and I own the Plank Restaurant here in Safford. The Plank is a full-service restaurant, bar, meeting, and banquet facility. We purchased the old Elks Lodge in December 2016. The building... Really? The building needed a bit of TLC. A majority of the remodel on the building was completed by ourselves. Outside assistance was needed for the electrical, exterior painting, roofing, and interior design. The remodel took 7 months to complete. The Plank opened its doors in July of 2017. Although we have definitely had our ups and downs, we have been profitable since day one. We have been in operation for over 16 months and currently employ 22 people. We have slowly been transitioning the various rooms of the building into comfortable, practical public areas. We are asking the Sharks for $12,600 so we can complete the next phase of our project, which is to redesign the outdoor patio. The patio is currently being used as a smoking area for our patrons. We do have a few picnic tables out there, but with the award of the proceeds, we will add approximately 40 new seats, some shading, vegetation, gas fire pits, and comfortable outdoor furniture. The funding we are requesting is for materials and equipment. The work will be done in-house by Jeff and myself. More Jeff, but I oversee it. The outdoor patio will not be your typical bar patio where potentially anything goes. Our house alcohol policy is stricter than the current state liquor laws. The same house policy will apply to the patio as well as to ensure all patrons have an enjoyable dining and drinking experience. The addition of the seating and atmosphere has the potential to yield approximately $15,000 per month additional revenue in food and beverage sales. This $15,000 is based on the fact that each seat in our restaurant yields, on average, $375 per month. Additional revenue can be recognized when guests have the option to rent out the outdoor patio for private parties. The $500 does not include the additional food and beverage sales from those parties. The additional revenue from food and beverage sales alone will generate approximately $1,365 a month in additional city and county taxes, or $16,000 annually, or the big number, $90,000, or I'm sorry, $16,000 monthly. I screwed that whole thing up. Let me start over. $1,365 a month in additional city and county taxes, $16,000 annually, which will bring the total sales tax that we pay each year to $90,000. Fellow business owners know that TPT tax is a joy, but it's needed and it does good for the community. Once the patio renovation is completed, we anticipate adding 2 to 3 additional servers on top of the 22 people we currently employ to support the patio. We are not necessarily asking for $12,600 for dollar. Perhaps we can make this a win-win situation for everyone involved. The Plank is a for-profit business. We would never ask another small business to donate anything at 100%. But perhaps we can think outside the box. Donations of equipment and supplies could maybe be made to a nonprofit group. I don't know if that nonprofit group can donate to a for-profit organization. Maybe both companies could win through a tax write-off if we could do donations in kind. Or perhaps we can do a services swaps. The holidays are coming up, and I know some of the local businesses would love to have a Christmas party at our facility in exchange for some equipment and or materials. I just want to thank you for this incredible opportunity, and please ask questions so that we can break the ice, please. But I do want to do a quick disclaimer. The pictures that are shown up here, they are in no way, shape, or form meant to criticize the Elks and the building that we purchased. They did their best to maintain it. It was so huge, and they could only do so much with the few members they had. We just wanted to show the potential of the building itself. Again, please take the pictures lightly. It was not meant to disgrace anybody, but it was in sad shape. And every day, day in, day out, we were in there doing the renovations. And we welcome you guys to come check it out now. But this is our patio, so it needs some TLC, as you can see. So, shoot.
Francis, is the patio completely closed off, or is it open to the exterior of the building?
No. So you can access the patio from inside the building. Is that what you're asking?
Or is there access from outside?
No. Because of our liquor license, it is a controlled environment or area.
Are you planning on developing the entire patio or just a portion of it?
Mainly the cemented area. There is another lot behind that we'd like to eventually do horseshoe pits, set up cornhole. This building has so many options and potential. Right now, our main focus would be the cemented area of the patio. Just one, because it's secure and that's what's within our liquor license permit. Anything inside the block wall, we can serve alcohol in, so we want to limit it to that.
So I thought you did great with your presentation because all the questions I had for you, you actually answered.
In a roundabout way, huh?
Yeah, you really did. I was going to ask about current employees and how many you were going to add. But just to make sure I understand, so whatever you're awarded, whether it's the $12,000 or any amount of that, immediately you turn around and put right back in the community, right? You're going to turn around and spend it on supplies to...
Absolutely. So
it just
the building
runs through you to whoever you're buying the supplies from.
Yeah, and we tried to source everything local. When we did the renovations, we visited Ace Hardware day after day after day. I think they got tired of us, but they knew we'd be there eventually. Every day for months. And this building, there's so many projects that we still need to complete. The patio is what we are asking for funding for. If we're not able to get what we're asking, there's a laundry list of items that we can utilize funds for.
And that was one of the questions. So if we can't offer $12,000 so you can't do the patio, what would you have projects that you can do with a lesser amount if that's what you were awarded?
Yes, many. Many of them. So.
Hi, Francis.
Hi.
Good to meet you.
You as well.
Fellow in arms over here.
I know. I was going to say, some of they understand the heartache.
So, does your original liquor licensing already include the patio area?
It does.
It does. Paint me a little picture here. Like, what's going to go on? Are you covering it? Are you?
No. So, one of our main issues right now is drainage. When the Elks had this building built, the intent was to put a swimming pool in. Cool. So it all drains to the middle. So any little rain,
Great.
We catch all the rain off the roof. It's a lake out there. So the first issue is a drainage.
Okay.
And then we'll put we're envisioning big potted trees, like from Curtis Landscape. Some of maybe a pergola towards, do you want me to get up here a little bit?
Yes, please. Okay. I'm imagining myself on this patio. That's why I kind of want a description here.
We want to do some string lights at night. We do have some lighting out there right now, but we want to do string lights so there's decent atmosphere. And then something other than picnic benches, because that's what we have now. Not that they're not good and grand, but we want some comfortable.
Is there city ordinances for music or how loud something can be played out there?
No, Hilberto's enjoys it when we play our jukebox as loud as we can. Because we own pretty much the entire lot, the dirt lot next to us. The funeral home, I'm sure there's no complaints in the evenings from those guests. So. Yeah, there's really not.
So there's potential for bands out there on that patio?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you broke down to $375 a month, I think you said?
$375 a month per seat.
Okay.
Which is what we average.
If I do the math right, it's like $12.50 per seat a day.
Yes.
Something like that. Okay.
Yes.
What happens when you have a rainy day?
So our business is not dependent on the patio. It would just be a nice to have, especially in the fall, the evenings, maybe springtime.
So your sales out on the patio may fluctuate depending on weather.
Absolutely.
And that's why I was asking if you were covering something or if there was going to be any protection from the environment so that you could use that year round.
Right now there's not a plan to do that. That would be astronomical for our request.
I just want to say that the proposal is very well written.
Thank you.
I thought that was good. You mentioned earlier that current patrons now go out to the patio to smoke.
Mm-hmm.
In the future, if this is expanded and you're serving out there, does that continue, or is that are there? I don't know if there's requirements around smoking around people who are eating.
You have to be, so you have to be so many feet away from. But there's right now if they don't go on the back patio, say we have an event in the banquet hall, the patrons are going out the front door, kind of down. We have a tree in the grass that they're smoking under. So if we expand this, and it's not like people sit out there all night long and puff away. I would like to limit that, but a smoke-free environment. So, did that answer your question? Sort of. Okay. Well, I left them all speechless. I did it.
You did it.
All right, thank you guys. Grab all his papers. Sorry. Thank you.
As we prepared all of our presenters tonight, we just told them you have to be prepared for anything. There may be 25 questions, and they're going to drill you to death. There may be no questions. Don't take that as a positive or as a negative. So, judges, what do we think so far? How are we doing? Are we getting any kind of feelings? How are we kind of settling in? Laura, what do you think? Isn't it? All right. Letty, you've been really quiet down there on the end. Are you listening? She's feverishly taking notes. So, yeah, I do not envy their job in about another 30 minutes or so as we send them into the back room and decide how to disperse these winnings. So, just a few things for you. We talked in this presentation a little bit about how those dollars are used and how they're going to get reinvested back into our community. During the break tonight, while the judges are visiting, we're going to have a chance to be able to have Kimber Lanning come up and visit with us just for a few minutes. For those who don't know Kimber Lanning, she's from Local First, Arizona, and she is one of the foremost buy local, everything local that we have in the state of Arizona. And I'm really, really excited for her to be able to present to you this evening and be able to feel that energy and excitement. I'm not going to try and share the numbers because I know she has them memorized and she's going to spit them off the top of her head like it's just nothing. But hopefully she'll share a little bit of that with us this evening. The other thing that came up this evening as we were going through a couple of the last ones is that if you're in the audience tonight and you think, you know what, that is a really, really good idea. I really want to see them make this happen. There is nothing wrong with private investors in these businesses. Am I right, presenters? They would love to have a conversation with you if you feel like you're in a position that maybe you want to invest and you want to help these dreams be able to move forward a little bit quicker. Have a conversation with them. If you don't know how to get a hold of them, get a hold of us at the SBDC, and we will make contact with you and try and help make some of those things happen for them. All right, we're over halfway done. Would you please welcome to the stage now for us, from the Fix Med Spa, Jennifer Brice.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, judges. Thanks for listening to me today. Looking for the iPad. There we go. I'm the owner of the Fix Med Spa. We opened up a year ago, and we offer medical spa services that can only be done under the medical supervision of a doctor, which include vitamin injections, Botox, lasers, and pharmaceutical-grade skincare products. We are located in Safford, in downtown Safford, on Main Street, just off of Main Street. And we have also expanded some of our services to Morenci and Snowflake, and hope to continue to expand to other communities around Safford. The Fix is creating an environment of and a culture for other micro businesses ran by women under our umbrella. And we currently have 7 contractors on our team and 3 renters in our building. We are creating a culture of encouragement and fostering relationships with the community. With our training of everybody that works at the Fix, there's 65 years of experience, and there's 3 of us that are medical professionals. So why a med spa in Safford, in downtown Safford? And you're thinking this is a small community, everybody goes outside the community for those services. Well, in the year 2017, 17.5 million people were getting cosmetic procedures done. And of those services, the top five were, of the top five, Botox, fillers, and laser were in those services. And this is a few of us at work. As you can see, men also enjoy our services. And there's a few business owners local to our community in those pictures as well, and we're creating friendships with them. And we hope to continue to encourage a growing clientele and business friendships. Because we keep our finger on the pulse of cutting edge services, we have successfully up to this point been able to predict what services will be embraced by the Gila Valley. It has taken a lot of education, but it is growing rapidly, and we are on the precipice of the next service that we want to bring, the next two services actually, with Shark Tank's help, of course. So we've been trying to keep our services affordable for the budget of the Gila Valley residents and encourage them to shop local in our area instead of going out of town to spend their money. We want to keep it here. But that doesn't provide much wiggle room for expansion for my budget because the services and the demand is growing faster than what my budget can afford. There are 7 people creating their magic. Well, actually 10 people creating their magic in 750 square feet. Things are a little tight, closets are overflowing, but every square inch we are making it used. The next phase of our business is an IV drip lounge. And if you've ever been to the big city and seen these, they're wildly popular. What it is specialized formulations of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and they treat a variety of special needs. You go together with your nurse and your doctor, and you can pick out what drip you want to choose. For example, we have the Myers and the Hangover, which is good for jet lag and hangovers. And we also have the Immunity. So you're thinking, well, everybody has a busy life. We don't want to get sick. And from personal experience of working in 2 local hospitals, one of them being on the reservation, I knew that how terrible last year's flu season was. We were shut down to code triage on one of the hospitals where we could just see them as they came in, and the other one was standing room only. So you can imagine the wait time of getting fluids would be very, very long. So the first time you feel that tickle in your throat, or you want to be preemptive about it, you can come in and get a high dose of vitamin C and zinc. And not to mention that we have people that are working in 100-degree plus weather in the summer, and we have miners and farmers that would like to get dehydrated, that would like fluids and electrolytes replacements. Eventually, we like to go to private homes, businesses, and events and take our services outwards. I started planning this service in early March of this year, and we're still working that way. I plan to hire 2 RNs, which will be sent to training, buy infusion chairs, try to expand our square footage, and high-grade pharmaceuticals, and advertising and signage for our building. The growing success of our business is largely due to the excellent professional care that we give at our business and the amazing support of our business. We have one friend come in, and we have 3 people follow them in, and they sit down and watch the services be done, and before you know it, they're in the chair as well. And we hope to encourage and foster a positive relationship with the community and other businesses in the area as well. And the amount that we're looking for is anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000, which is the full amount, but we'll be tickled pink with anything that we get. So, thank you.
So one of the things that you mentioned is that you're running out of room, 750 square feet, and you mentioned that you would like to at least double the square footage. Are you capable of doing that in your current location? Is there space available to the side, or would you need to move to a new facility?
There is space available to the side, but the cost of the renovations on a building that is rented, I can't see the logic in it right now because it took so much money to do the building that to renovate the building that we're renting right now, and my husband almost lost his fingers in the process. So I think there is another building that we're looking at, and so we're just keeping our options open right now. I'm looking for something that's already kind of set and built.
Is it downtown as well?
Yes, it's in downtown Safford. It's a couple of blocks away from the current location.
Hi, Jennifer. Thank you.
Hi.
Let me say I love your shoes, by the way.
Oh, my kids.
Jennifer, some quick questions. Are all your employees RNs?
No, they're not. They range from laser techs to health coaches, massage therapists, estheticians, and we have a doctor. So
Okay, so not all your services require RN.
not all
okay.
of them, but there is a good majority that do.
And potential growth in employees?
I would like to see this at a large scale, but for right now, just in August, I hired a call center and a social media, and I hired an RN, and I look to hire 2 more RNs.
Okay. So some growth there.
Yes.
You had me sold on the hangover thing. What are you getting from the community as far as feedback on these services?
Oh, very, very positive. It's 5-star on all our Facebook and social media reviews, and the feedback is that they're returning over and over and over again.
And that was my next question. What's your return rate?
The return rate, I'm not quite positive on numbers, but from last year is more than doubled.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome to come get a B12. I don't have handouts,
I will
but come
probably
see us
take
in
you up on
action.
that.
You'll really love it.
Do you accept insurance?
We don't at the moment. Insurance is kind of a big deal, and it has lots of rules and regulations, and I don't know if I'm ready to dip into that pool yet.
What does a typical treatment cost?
A typical treatment like Botox, if you got your area of your forehead done, is about $100. A B12 is $25. So it can be really, really affordable, or you could do something super expensive and get your cheeks filled, and it's $1,000. So it kind of varies on what you're looking for. We kind of customize the treatments, and we ask about budget before we even start injecting, or we do laser services. And we have facials that are affordable for everybody. So it kind of just depends on what you want and what your budget is. We don't want to break the bank for anybody.
Do you have any idea what your per average is?
About $400 per patient.
About 400.
Mm-hmm.
And how much is that hangover remedy?
Well, I know that the Myers drip, which is a good all-purpose drip, which makes you feel fabulous, is about. I think I wrote it down. It's about $190 for a drip, and you just come get it done, and it's about $110 profit.
Okay. Yeah, that is an expensive hangover.
But you can get a push. You can get a 20 ml push, and it's cheaper.
Okay, so there's lower options.
Yes,
You don't have
there's
to do the
lower
whole
options. It's all stepped up.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by this, by the
We
way.
can give you a gold mask.
Thank you.
If you want to go that route.
I was actually more intrigued about the Botox, and can we put it here and push what's left here back up to the top again? So anyway, so Nick, we'll go together. I'll actually drag you in. You can get yours done. I'll get mine done. Do I get like a buddy bonus if I bring a friend with me or something? So refer a friend. So, and actually our last presenter tonight, we might actually need that service. So you guys might want to talk about a co-marketing with the brewing company and the hangover portion as part of that. So anyway, folks, I just wanted to give you a heads up. We haven't had to use it so far, but we do have a buzzer system in place. All right? And it's not the prettiest buzzer. I just wanted to give you a heads up in case we do have to use it before the night is over with. Hope your hearts are okay. We don't want to surprise you. We've got timers going off back behind the scenes that they can see there. We've got timers back over here, but we have the buzzer at the ready to make sure we keep everybody on task. So I think we're doing well so far. So we would now like to welcome to the stage the owner of Healthcare Registry, Ms. Sandra Gaines.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Gaines, and I am the owner of Healthcare Registry here in Safford, Arizona. I place caregivers to work in the home for the elderly. The home care industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry that is only growing. When I started my business 5 years ago, I started seeking care for my mother in another state. And I found out that there was not an agency available that could give her just a wellness check on a daily basis. Upon returning back here to Safford, she was in Texas, I found out also here in Safford there was not an agency except for SeaKIS that provided home care. There was a list that floated with caregivers that someone can use to place someone in the home. SeaKIS does provide Meals on Wheels, personal care, housekeeping within the home, and they only do it on Monday through Friday between 8 and 5. When I started my business, I was able to provide services over a 24-hour basis. I right now have 10 caregivers working in 24 homes in Graham County. The healthcare industry and the home care industry is only growing. We know that baby boomers born between the ages of born in 1945 to 1964 there's about 74 million in the U.S. alone. We also know that healthcare itself is on the rise. Now, in my business, my ideal client is probably a child looking for care for either their parents or either their grandparents and in the home setting. It may be that they are trying to relieve a family caregiver. Maybe the person is just out of a hospital themselves and they need some care in the home. I'm in a situation, ideally, in a win-win situation because my office is in SeaKIS. I work right in the office with SeaKIS, and so I get direct referrals from them. And at that moment, I can provide care right on the spot. Once I voucher out a caregiver, they're expected to have background checks, and I do extensive skills lists. I make sure that they're a match with the client when we go into the home. I'm also in a unique position, too, because of the type of care I can provide, and there's a multitude of areas where I provide services. Sometimes we have a son who's in another state who needs his mother checked on. We have a family member who has someone in the home that they need to run out to get goes to the beauty shop and do some banking, and they maybe need a couple hours. And then I also have care where the husband and wife both work, and their parent needs someone there for a 12-hour day. So it just depends on what the circumstances are. I'm able to provide the immediate needs at that time. Now, I would love to be able to provide all referral services. We know that the home care industry is growing along with the healthcare industry. 10,000 people turn 65 every day in the U.S., and this is going to happen for the next 20 years. In 2019, there will be more persons over the age of 65 than there will be persons under the age of 5. So the aging population is growing. My request to the Shark Tank is for $5,000. With that $5,000, I can have social media, I can advertise, I could put the word out there. What has happened now, I'm getting response by word of mouth, which is good. But I'd like to advertise because I know the caregivers are there. I could see myself over the next 24 months growing at least 20% in revenue in my business with my expansion. And I have one thing to say when I think about 1 in 4 people in this audience over the age of 55 will require some assistance. So I'm asking the Sharks to invest in our community so that that assistance can be taken care of in your home. Thank you.
Can you help us understand where your revenue comes from? In your business plan, you mentioned an assessment fee, and then you also mentioned a fee that you charge the caregiver. Is that a monthly or is that a one-time fee?
No, it's just a one-time fee, and all the revenue is I put in myself as far as the startup fees and all that. And so what I received the last 5 years, I've broken even. I've had no profit and no loss. So the monies I put in, I do background checks as far as office supplies and things like that. My ultimate goal is to be able to have a pool of healthcare workers that can not only work in the home, but maybe fill a valley needed clinic, needed someone, or the hospital needed someone. I would be able to work off that pool. And in an expansion of my business, I plan to increase the fees as far as the caregivers and the clients in the home. And that's where my revenue would come from too. As I'll say with everybody else, 5,000 is a small amount, but for me it would be a big jump start as far as media. I mean, advertising is expensive for me because I'm a sole business owner. So but anything I get, I'd be happy with also.
What will you do with the 5,000? Are you planning on putting it directly into marketing or advertising?
Yes, directly into marketing. I've checked on 2 or 3 as far as media plans to get a good website. I have no website or anything like that going now. And to advertise locally, it would cost me somewhere about maybe $100 or $150 a month. And so I would put all that money into marketing.
So are you currently operating as a nonprofit organization, or are you, okay.
No.
You just work with SECUS. You get your referrals through SECUS?
I just get referrals through SECUS
Okay.
or by word of mouth.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So someone that, like myself, that's new to the community, what I often do whenever I'm looking for a business to help me with a task, I always go to the Chamber of Commerce and look to see who's registered there. I looked today
I'm not
for
there.
your business, and I couldn't
No.
find it.
No.
I believe that's free. Have you thought about that? And
I have thought about
likewise,
that.
I've
I've
also
thought
looked.
about
I
that.
looked on Facebook, and I didn't find you there
I'm
either.
not there. No.
So these are things that are free that you could do, with minimal amount of time and money. I'm just curious why you hadn't done that up to this point.
I really don't have the know-how as far as how to get it started.
So out of your, you say you have 10 caregivers. Are they full-time
Oh, no. No.
employed by I'm assuming they're contracted by who you set them up with?
Well, when I go to make the assessment in the home, the client pays them directly. So I don't do payroll or anything like that. I'm not, involved. I negotiate the wage for the caregiver to make sure they get the wage commensurate with the work that they do. But I'm not
Can you
involved
make
in
an
that.
estimate as to how many of those caregivers are full-time or part-time?
Well, I would say probably 50% work anywhere from 30 to 40 hours a week, but it may be with 4 different families.
Okay.
Mhm.
So they're working a 40-hour week.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're saying you're wanting to expand your pool of all caregivers, RNs,
Yes.
like all across the board? Okay. Is that part of your the 5,000 that you're using?
Yes, it would be.
Okay.
I think my biggest thing is I'm doing the day-to-day, placing the caregivers, and sometimes doing schedules. I'm really not reaching out to expand, and I see that there's a need for that now. I have the last, I'm happy to say the last week I have 4 caregivers that are looking to work. So in the past, I've had requests and haven't had the caregivers to place, but now I see that happening, and I just need a little bit of help to get that nudge going.
How do caregivers know about you currently? Is it word of mouth?
It's by word of mouth,
Okay. And those caregivers pay a fee to you once you've placed them with a family?
Yeah, one-time fee
Okay.
that I'm going to expand. Just $25 I charge them.
For your time? Yeah, that's,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that is.
Okay, thank you.
Nice job, Sandra. She was my most nervous. She wanted to be the first one out of the chute. I feel sorry for you, but you did awesome. You did awesome. Well, folks, we have one left. One left. How are we doing? We hanging in there so far? Doing all right? We're going to give these guys just a moment. I think they've got a little bit of setup to do to get things to get some things going there. So, anyway, judges, you're starting to get an idea of the big task you have ahead of you in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Oh, do you want samples? Okay, so I do have to give a disclaimer. So, our next company is a brewing company. We're in the process of kind of helping them to get up and get started. And so, as we were looking at venues of where to have this, of course, we love coming to the CFA. What a phenomenal, for those who've been to shows here, just a premier location for any kind of a major event here locally. And so we are so happy to be here. The drawback to this, though, is that we are on school property. So as we were discussing about how to do this, Laura, we are bound by law that we cannot have alcohol on the school premises. So, however, for those of you who did have a chance when you had pizza and everything beforehand, they got here a little bit late, but they provided all of the root beer that was here this evening. That was made by the brewing company. So I've had an opportunity to be able to taste those wares a little bit. The root beer side, not the other side, all right? I've had a chance to be able to take in that. So we've been really, really excited about these guys and all that they're doing. So this will be just another moment or two to get this set up. Nick, I think you'll be excited about this one. Very excited? Are you all ready? All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you will welcome to the stage our final presenter tonight, Mr. Dallas Seminole with Dirty Beaver Brewing.
All right, most of all, I'm scared of that buzzer that they keep talking about. That terrifies me. I want to talk about a couple of things before we really get started here. Sorry, restaurant guys. Entrepreneur Magazine says that a restaurant in the first 5 years of business has a 70% failure rate. Breweries, craft breweries, less than 5%. Pretty tough, but I want to work with each and every restaurant and bars in town and supply them with our product. So we want to work with other restaurants and other restaurants and establishments that are going to serve alcohol. However, we don't plan on serving any food, so we want to pair with the restaurants that are in town and let them provide food to our establishment. There's some facts and figures on growth and potential. I'm going to let my son Sam talk about that, and then I'll come back.
So as he mentioned, I'm Samuel Seminole. I'm his boy. Now on growth and potential, Arizona produces about 480,000 barrels of beer a year. It's manufactured in Arizona. That's about 4.5 million gallons of beer a year. The growth in the market is about 17% every year. I think it's about 150 new breweries in the United States as a total a year. So the market's definitely there and growing. Our plan in the first year is to have 4 employees and try to double that in our second. And we do have plans after that in the second and the fifth. So I'm a little nervous.
So like I said, my name is Dallas. I started brewing when I was very young, and I started for the same reason everybody does, to get drunk. Somewhere in there I figured out that there is a science and an art. I fell in love with this. The craft really got to me. It's an art. It's an artisan thing. All of our equipment that we can purchase locally, our plastic fermenters here, the very first one we bought online. After that, I sourced them to Goodman Ag. Goodman Ag now supplies our fermenters. We currently have capability of producing 240 gallons a month, which for $1,800 could be doubled. So very simply, we're trying to do as much business with the local as we can. That's my big thing. I want to be a local business. I want to be your local brewery, and I want to be a good member of the community, a good partner for the community. Now, having said that, we have also plans, as many of you guys got to try, and we still have some left. We did some root beer tonight. Anybody try it? Anybody like it? Both of you liked it? Thanks. Thanks. I really need help on that. I guess we need to work on that. Just forget I said that. However, I'm going to let the guy that's going to take that over from me talk a little bit about where we want to go with the family structure of this business.
Hi, I'm Tyson Hill, not Seminole. Although they have adopted me pretty well, and I enjoy being a part of what they stand for and what they represent. As Dallas presented this to me the first time, I have owned businesses before in the past and actually have thought about opening a business here in Safford as well. But when he came to me and presented what he wanted to do, I still get goosebumps with it. It's actually an amazing opportunity for him to bring something amazing to the community, to be able to manufacture, to have a brewery in Safford that represents Safford. Not only that, but the mining community that is around us and also the farming community that is around us. To be able to bring in the businesses that are around us, to utilize them, the products they offer, so that that revenue stays in town. Most importantly, is every one of us have a family, and that family is important to us. That's the reason that we go to work. That's the reason you go to work. The family atmosphere is hard to find, and it's hard to utilize with an alcoholic opportunity or where you have a business of it. Because sometimes it's just brought in to go in and get drunk. That is not what we want. We want the family atmosphere so that you and your children can come in and the adults can enjoy a beverage and that the children can enjoy a beverage. You can bring in different foods from the community, which we highly, highly are excited about, because that gets business opportunities for other businesses, and for us, the growth potential is amazing. Thank you.
All right, guys. As they yell at me 2 minutes from the back, so I don't get the buzzer. Like I said, we're trying to do everything local. We want to be in business and do business here. We want to support the community. We want to do things for this community. We would like to see it prosper and grow. Our logo has been designed. The beaver is a working animal. I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever actually watched one build. There's also a story in the Gila Valley that one of the first things that brought white settlers to this valley was beaver trapping on the Frisco River. You know, I haven't validated that story, but I've heard it many a time. So there's a lot of reasons that we chose him, but if you look very carefully at the logo, you'll notice the work boots and a mine hat and the dirt. He's going to be, I hope to make him synonymous with the area and what we do here and the mining and Freeport and the good things that have come out of this community. That's it, guys. You can tear me apart now. Let's have it.
Dallas, how much are you asking for, and what do you plan on using those funds for if you were awarded those?
I knew I forgot something in there. Obviously, I didn't ask for enough. We're going to ask for $8,000 to help secure our location, which we have not settled on a location. We have a couple that will potentially work for us that are close to downtown. I'd like to be right downtown, and that's the $8,000 would help to secure a location. If we can't do that, $5,000 would help us purchase the part of the remaining equipment that we need. However, if we get the $5,000, we'll take the equipment that we purchase and leverage that and borrow more to help us get this rolling. The average cost of opening a brewery is $250,000, and that's the average of a nano brewery. We're going to start at a kind of a small scale. We're going to do a single barrel run, which is 31.5, and there's several reasons that I'm doing that is because I don't have to have a lot of the other higher end equipment. Plus, they're smaller batches and we can pay closer attention to our quality.
So you're currently, when you say you're looking for a location, you're looking for a location to sell beer and craft soda. Is that correct?
That is
and
correct.
then also take your beer that you sell and sell it in the local restaurants?
Yes.
Okay. And do you currently sell anything, or you're still not able to?
I do not sell anything at this time. I am not licensed to sell at this time.
What do you need to be able to sell? What has to happen?
Okay, there's a series of things. This is really, as I didn't realize when I took this on, I guess in the beginning, it's a monumental task. There's facility. Facility is primary. There's some controversy going on over changing downtown to an entertainment district. I am one of the people that is behind that. I'm one of the people that's facilitating that. Facility is key. That's the number one. We have to get our location secured. Once our location is actually secured, then we can move off into starting the licensing, which the licensing is federal, and then it falls to state, and then it falls to local, or state, county, local, city government. So primarily the first thing is the location. We have to have everything together, in place, and operable before we can even fill out the paperwork to start the licensing.
Do you have any idea how long that would take from the time you get your location until you're fully licensed?
They say just on the licensing to expect it to take 3 months.
Okay.
I've talked to many other breweries, and pretty much the same thing comes out every time, is that expect it to cost twice as much as you figure and expect it to take twice as long. So realistically, it's 3 to 6 months before you actually see that license.
But you have to have that location in place first.
We not only have to have the facility in place, we have to have the equipment available to run upon any given notice to actually prove that we're ready to go.
And what are the possible hindrances to you being awarded a license?
This is not a liquor license per se, like the city would, like a bar where you're going to serve hard alcohol. This is more of a production-based license. So really the biggest issue that we've encountered is the geographic location has been the big one, because I really want to be downtown. I really want to be Safford's Brewery. I really would like to be involved with the main part of the community. There's a lot of schools and there are a lot of religious facilities that are adjacent to downtown. That's making it really hard to find the location.
And that's where the entertainment district would come in?
Yes.
Sure.
And once they accept that, it'll be on a case-by-case basis.
Awesome. First of all, Sam, are you old enough to be doing this stuff? Okay. Cool. As long as you're safe there. So I love beer. I love craft beer. I think it's a booming market, just like you said. And Safford would definitely benefit from a brewery. Sell me your beer. Tell me what it's like.
Which one? That's not fair.
You pick the best one that you brew, and you sell it to me.
You just asked me to pick my favorite child. That's really
I
hard.
did.
Okay. And don't pay any attention to him. That's not my favorite.
Pick one. Tell me about it.
I do so many. We do a chili that is actually a recipe. It's done with a red chili. We got our red chilies from the guy down there by the railroad tracks across from Walmart. And we make a very light, simple beer. It's not hoppy. It's not extreme. It's a very mild, it's almost a cream ale. And then at the end of it, we steep in the red chili to give it a nice, spicy, warming flavor. So if a person's a chilada drinker, that's the beer. It's a beautifully crafted beer. It's well put together. I've developed my own recipe for a chocolate porter, which if you're a porter drinker, you know that porters are, and we can talk about this all night. They will buzz me. If you're a porter drinker, you know that a porter is a darker, heavier beer. And on that porter, what I did was, at the end of that beer, I brought in a cocoa nib. And we actually steeped those cocoa nibs into the base of the beer. So you have this beautiful, robust, heavy beer when you first have a drink of it. And it's not bitter, but it's heavy. And then as you swallow it and it crosses the back of your palate, which is in your throat, you pick up these beautiful hints of walnut and chocolate and banana. But it's never overpowering and brutal. It's sweet and succulent.
Sounds amazing.
Do you have any commitments from any of the local restaurants to provide your beer?
I'm not going to name any, but there's a couple that I've actually talked to that are very interested in supporting our product. I can give samples right now as a home brewer, and I have, and they've liked what we've sent them, just to try. And so, yeah, in answer to your question, yes, I have restaurants already that are willing. We have a verbal agreement.
Is the path to being a distributor shorter if you choose not to open up an establishment where you actually sell it to individuals rather just distribute to restaurants?
It's for the license that I'm going after, it's essentially another check mark. It's really not that big of a change for me because all we're doing is checking another box. We're allowed in Arizona to have a tasting room attached to a brewery. So that's not that really big of a deal. We're going to do the growler cells. If you see to the left, they're just to the left of the hops package. That's the growlers that we've done, we've designed, we've had laser etched. I have all my laser etched done here. And then the bottling and stuff we'll do there too.
But I guess my point, Dallas, is if you're not paying rent for 6 months in a building that you can't use, is it better to have that in a shop in your backyard?
I can't.
Or you can't do that?
I cannot do that. Zoning in Arizona, the liquor laws in Arizona say you cannot be in an indirect, I forget how the words are, but essentially you can't be on a residential property. Sure. You have to be zoned for light manufacturing, which I believe is C2.
But the big unknown is whether or not, when and if it's going to be an entertainment district downtown, right?
I'm going to make this brewery happen in this town. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it in this town, downtown, but we're going to put a brewery here eventually. I don't know. I'm almost 3 years in. Every piece of equipment that we currently have, I have bought out of my own pocket and by working overtime. And, I put all this together. The equipment that we have, this is our mesh tun. This is where we do the transformation from the complex sugars of the grain, which is, Sam, would you hold up that grain, please? We turn that grain into a liquid to ferment. So that's all of this equipment we currently built, and we plan to continue to build and be here local.
Very good.
Thank you. I look forward to doing the sodas, and that's going to be a huge part of this business. Thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody that we were involved with and everybody that's gone through this and all the listening to us. And I'd really like to say thank you, Kevin, for all your help over the last 3 years.
These guys have been fun. These guys have really been a lot of fun. So, folks, what do you think? Do you envy the judges tonight in making some decisions? Yeah? Do you have a favorite? Do you know who you would vote for? We're going to find out in about 25 minutes or so. Judges, do you have all the information that you need? Any final questions? Okay, if there's nothing else, judges, you know where you're at. And by the way, we did serve them root beer before we sent them out of the room. These bottles that are on here, Nick, I want to make sure that there's an inventory taken of the bottles as he walks by. So let's make sure that those are all taken care of. Judges, we want to invite you to the back room. We'll let you guys go ahead and make your decision. Can we give the judges a round of applause again for all their help tonight? We've really thrown them under the bus on this. This has never been done before. We've never had this experience of doing this, and so we really appreciate these judges of being more of our guinea pigs than judges in this whole process. So we are so grateful for them and all that they've done. So, all right, before we've got a few things to kind of fill some time. Feel free to, if you need to get up and go to the bathroom or you need to take a break or whatever, we've got a few things we're still going to continue to present to you during this next little break here. So we did want to recognize, as I mentioned, there was a cohort that was put together that began the initial process of all of this and helped kind of bring this idea in, and then with the cooperation of many different groups, they reached out and really made a lot of this work happen. I just want to recognize that committee. So if we can bring the house lights up a little bit, and if they're here, if they would please stand so we can give you a round of applause. Our committee members that were part of this cohort: Royce Hunt from SECAS. We have Joe Goodman from the Graham County Planning, and he served as our committee chairman. Larry Catton from SEGO. We have sequestered him back in the back as well. Bill Brandell from the U of A Extension. We have Michaela Cope, who's with us tonight. Michaela, thank you for all that you did on this as well. Mr. Sean Winham, who we've had hiding in the back tonight as our timekeeper. Wonderful job there. And also Mr. Pat O'Donnell from the Graham County Chamber of Commerce. We'll really give them a big round of applause. Thank you. There was a lot of hours that went into this, especially in the preparation. I think Dallas just nailed it. This group of 7 people, 8, 9 people, really became family through this whole process as they worked together and bounced ideas off of other and worked on things. So we were super excited for them to come together tonight. And I think they're all in agreement. Can we just spread the money all the way across, and let's give everybody a piece of that? But we'll see what the judges came. So we are fortunate tonight, as I mentioned earlier, to have Kimber Lanning with us. Kimber is the fiduciary agent of this whole process. Is kind of the money keeper, handling all of this with us tonight. As part of the funding that went on for this, we were also actually through the Freeport McMoran grant funding process. We're actually able to secure about $120,000 to start a Graham County micro-lending program. For those who've tried to open businesses or those who have been in the process of opening businesses, you'll know that finding funding for those businesses is probably one of the more difficult things that we have to wrestle with here. And so we are really, really excited to be able to now introduce this new micro-lending program to Graham County. And with that being said, we want to welcome Kimber Lanning to the stage and to talk about that program and a little bit more about Local First Arizona. One of our favorite people ever. It's good to have you here. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Are we going to go? Okay.
Good. It's good to be with you. All of you, wonderful, wonderful presentations, and I wish you all the best of luck. It would be very, very hard to choose. I'm glad I'm not one of the judges tonight. So congratulations just on getting this far. We're excited to have you here. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Local First Arizona and how we got here and why we believe so strongly in entrepreneurship businesses just like all of yours. So in 2013, our organization merged with the Arizona Rural Development Council. And so now we work in about 25 different rural areas, doing different programs and working in different models that help stimulate the local economies and build self-reliance in those communities. Our goal is to keep dollars recirculating in this particular region, in Graham County. And we do that in a number of different ways. And I'm going to highlight a few of them, and then I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that I find inspiring and why I think that local entrepreneurs are really the sweet stuff in every town that you can visit. So the first thing I want to talk about is, a lot of times when we're thinking about economic development, we think that it has something to do with some other guy that's an economic development professional. But the reality is every single one of us are participating in the economy, in the local economy every day in the way we vote with our wallet. And so as economic developers, there's really 5 different ways that you can grow the local economy. And one of them is incubators, getting those ideas stimulating around who's going to start a company. Another is startups, which some of you are actually in that startup phase right now. A third one is on the screen. It's called business retention, and that's making sure that your existing businesses have the tools and resources they need to be successful. And then there's business expansion, working with this business community to make sure that they have workforce development training, the capital. You're all here tonight for capital, making sure they have the capital that they need to grow, to renovate, to expand, to hire, to add new products, to experiment. We need to make sure that our existing businesses have access to all those tools and resources so they can continue to grow. And then the final of the 5 is called business attraction. And that's the one we read about all the time, the business attraction where we're out there trying to get another outside company to relocate into our community, right? So we know that in the state of Arizona, 90% of our economic development budget over the last 25 years was spent on business attraction. And we at Local First Arizona are trying to shift that from business attraction to business retention and expansion. And the reason is that we think, and we can prove through many, many economic studies, that it's more bang for our buck. If we actually make sure that our existing businesses have access to the resources they need to grow, and they're already rooted in our community, we're not worried about them leaving because their kids live here and their grandkids live here. That's a better strategy than trying to get somebody to relocate here from Texas or from Phoenix or wherever it might be. So we really advocate for this business retention and expansion strategy. We also work really hard on placemaking, branding, and marketing for businesses, but also for entire communities. And I want you to just pause and think about the important role that local businesses play in the brand and the character of this place. Those local businesses that are unique to this place. How many of you travel, and when you go into a town, you want to go find out where the locals are, right? You want to go where the locals are because you know they're going to be the ones to tell you all the best places to go. I know one time I was lucky enough to visit Venice in Italy. And I was walking down the street, and I looked down a long corridor, and all the gondola guys had gotten off work, and they were all packed in this little bar. And I was like, that's where I want to be, because they could go anywhere, and you know they're going to be going into the best place around. So people following the locals. And so that identity, that branded identity, is really woven into the local businesses in this corridor. And then I really believe in clustering as well. If I gave you a map of a place you'd never been before, and I said you've got 2 hours to explore, you're going to look at that map and you're going to head to the area where there's the most little red dots, right? And so the more we can cluster folks, they used to know this back in the day when they built main streets. They used to cluster the small local businesses together, and there's this character. If I asked you to close your eyes and imagine your favorite street in the world, just close your eyes and think about it. Would you think about things like Sidewalk Cafe? Maybe it's tree-lined. Maybe there's cute little shops you can look in the window. Did anybody here, when I say what's your favorite street in the world, who pictured a 6-lane highway and a big, huge parking lot with a neon sale sign? Anybody picture that? No. You picture those main streets and that little walkable corridor. And then finally, value chains. Another thing about all of the startups and small businesses in the room, I would just love it if you looked locally for talent first. Look locally for somebody to do your logo, your sign. Look locally for an accountant or a bookkeeper. Look locally for a payroll person. All of those talents are here in the region, and if we don't hire them, how are they going to survive, right? The goal here is to keep the dollar moving through the local economy. I mean, you're going to open up a brewery. If you hire 7 other guys to do the work to help you do it, they're going to have enough money to come in and buy something at the brewery. Always remember, smart money comes back to you. So now I'm going to shift gears on, and I'm going to talk about character and sense of place. Now, this is a true story. I was standing in line. This is before I started Local First Arizona. I was standing in line next to a woman, and we were just chit-chatting. And she started telling me how great Chicago was. Now, how many of us know someone from Chicago that won't stop telling you how great Chicago is? We all know them. And Chicago's a great, don't get me wrong, it really is. I mean, they've got more hometown pride than almost anywhere in the country, right? The Cubs just lost for 100 years straight and didn't lose a single fan. Meanwhile, the Diamondbacks can have a bad inning, and we're like, nah, I don't know if I want to commit. I'm not sure, right? Why does Chicago have that much hometown pride? So this woman was telling me how great Chicago was, and I'm listening. I'm thinking, I'm an Arizona girl. I've heard it all before. And then at one point, she lowered her voice and leaned in as sort of confidentially. She said, boy, you guys sure have made a mess out here in Arizona. And I was like, now I'm bobbing and weaving. You know, I'm like ready to go. Those are fighting words. And I was like, what do you mean you guys have made a mess out here? And I said, oh, you don't live here. She said, no, I live here. I said, oh, you haven't lived here very long then. She said, no, I lived here 15 years. I said, so who the heck is you guys? You're one of us now, right? You're one of us now. And so I started pushing back on her, and I found out that she had never voted 15 years. I found out that when she gave charitably, she gave back in Illinois. So I started thinking to myself, wow, I'm onto something. So I got my little visor and my clipboard, and I went and interviewed everybody I could find from Chicago. Every single one of them. Asked them one question. Tell me why you love Chicago so much. And they told me in a million different ways, they told me the locally owned businesses. They didn't even know that's what they were saying. They said, I love the restaurants, I love the breweries, I love when I jumped into my cafe, my favorite seat at the cafe, they'd say, hey Steve, you want the regular? They said, man, in Chicago I had the same barber for 40 years. Or I bank at the same bank my great-grandparents banked at. I feel rooted to that community. Those are all ways of saying, I conduct business with people I know, and that relationships matter most. Now, you can take that same person and move them to a city like Phoenix, Arizona, and they'll just throw that behavior out the window, and they're sitting in big, huge box stores, and they don't know anybody. They go home and close that garage door at night, and they are checked out. And they don't put in the roots, and they don't put down roots and grow in this community. And so it's critically important that we think about the role that these locally owned businesses play in connecting people to their place. And I'm lucky that the Knight Foundation issued a huge study that's called Connection to Place that demonstrates that local business plays a critical role in the way people feel about their place, and that when people love their place, they're more likely to vote, to volunteer, to give charitably. They're even more likely to pay their taxes without complaining, which I heard one of you mention, the taxes that we all have to pay as business owners. They hurt, but we know they're going to pay for fire departments and libraries and parks and other such things in our community. So it's critically important. I also want to talk to you a little bit about where your money goes when you spend it. So I think it's super important that we start thinking about how the dollar circulates through the economy. So this is backing up, and I don't know why. I'm just hitting the go button as instructed. And it's going backwards. And now it's just going to quit. So I'm going to ask you to imagine. Can you make it go forward? Need to go to the next slide. I can't tell you the number of slides. Wouldn't it just be the arrow, you would think? So I'm going to talk to you about where the dollars would go when you spend it. So the way I'm going to do that is have you imagine that we've got a choice on one side of the screen. Okay, there it is. We've got 15 Starbucks locations represented by 15 Starbucks logos. And you got 15 independent coffee shops, which were just randomly selected from across Arizona. So most folks think, it doesn't really matter where I spend my money. But I'm going to call out, just pause and call out Starbucks as about the best chain store out there. And I call them the best chain store for two reasons. One is they pay for the health care of their employees, okay? Now, most big chain stores don't do that. They don't pay for the health care of their employees. Those employees without health care end up on the state's health care program. Who's paying for that? We are, right? So this is one of those things we have to understand. So the prices on the shelf in the big box store that doesn't pay health care for their employees is actually not a cheaper price. It's called deferred billing because we're paying for it by having to pay for the health care of their employees, okay? Starbucks doesn't do that. They pay for the health care of their employees. The other thing they don't do is they're not in the business of subsidies, okay? How many of you are familiar with big old subsidies that are sometimes offered to companies that move into town? So are you familiar with a store called Cabela's? There's one in Glendale, Arizona. So they average $35 million per store. Most people think they're in the business of fishing tackle and tents and whatnot. They average $35 million just in subsidies. And that means they send a team out in advance and they get the government there to give them money in advance, okay? 35 million is the average per store across the country in Glendale, Arizona. Anybody want to guess what they gave to Cabela's? 68 million, you're close. $68 million for one retail location. And so they promised they were going to be the state's second highest tourist attraction after the Grand Canyon. Anybody believe that? What do you think? So they're seriously underperforming. And so again, coming back to this slide, Starbucks doesn't do that. They just do business the old-fashioned way like all of us. We're putting our blood, sweat, and tears in, and we're paying for it our own way. And I appreciate that, right? So now let's talk about when you spend your money at the Starbucks. They have the cost of doing business. How many graphic designers get hired here in Graham County because Starbucks does business here? Anybody get a job from Starbucks doing graphic design? How about website development? Any website developers get a job? Payroll service providers, attorneys, accountants. It's a long list. You get my point. It's a long list. Those are called secondary jobs, and they actually make the world go round. On this side of the screen, you got 15 accountants had a client, 15 website developers had a gig, 15 graphic designers, et cetera, et cetera. That keeps dollars and jobs moving in this economy. And we can even talk about the third time the dollar moves through the economy when you could say the janitorial supply company keeps the offices clean of the accounting firm, and the accounting firm is only here because the local businesses hire them. So it's critically important that we all think about how we're spending our money and how it impacts the community around us. Because if we don't choose to support the local restaurants and retailers, then how are we going to expect anybody to grow up here and be an accountant and stay here, be a graphic designer, be a website developer, right? We need to have an opportunity to spend that money with other local companies. And some folks think, well, that's just economy of scale, but it's actually not cheaper. Not cheaper to buy a latte at Starbucks, is it? It's not. They have economy of scale, but that just shows an extra profitability for their shareholders, not in savings for the consumer. Can you? Yeah, thanks. So this new study that just came out demonstrated that when you spend money online and Amazon creates 2 more jobs, that 3 local jobs will actually be lost. For every 2 jobs they create, 3 local jobs are lost. So this is a really dangerous proposition for rural America specifically, and you can advance. And they demonstrated that in this study that for every $10 million spent at independently owned businesses, 110 jobs were created and sustained. And for the same $10 million spent at chain retailers, you get 50 jobs. And you spend that same $10 million on Amazon, and we get 14 jobs. So we can't go home and scratch our heads and wonder where the jobs went, right? You guys are the engines. You are the engines of this region. How you spend your money matters, and how the rest of us spend our money matters as well. So now I'm just going to pause and give a quick shout out to the local businesses because I think it's important that we remember if we want people to choose us, we want them to know us. So we all have an About Us page probably on our website, but too often we tell people what we do and not why we do it. People want to know you and what you're passionate about. Don't make the mistake of just simply selling what we do. And I'll give you an example. We have a tire shop that we work with in local First Arizona. They're called Community Tire and Auto. When we started working with them, they had an About Us page that said, you guessed it, we sell tires. We sell a lot of tires, all different kinds of tires. That's what we do. Then through working with them, I found out that Howard and Pat Fleischman, the owners, had lost a son in a head-on collision that occurred after somebody had a tire blowout. And then in addition to that story, I found out that they had acquired a plot of land next to one of their tire depots in a rougher part of town, and they had planted a community garden on their own dime, and they had invited all of the elementary kids and elementary school kids in the neighborhood to come in and plant food and harvest it and grow it and make food together. And I mean, I'm talking about a tire shop, right? I'm just like, take my wallet, because I'm never going to buy any tires from anyone else as long as I live. Now that I know the why, and now that I know you as people, I want to spend money with you. So when I look at an About Us page, I want to know what lights you on fire, that you are working your fingers to the bone and you're passionate about this small business. I want you to make me know you and make me want to support you. So don't make the mistake of just saying what we do. And so the other thing I want to mention is the regional thinking. I was really happy to think about the brewery partnering with the restaurants. I want you all thinking about who you can partner with. I heard that you're partnering with SECAS. I heard there were a lot of partnerships. And I really think that's a critical part of everyone's success is who can you link arms with? Who can you refer people to and get referrals back? There's so many ways to do it creatively. We've got a partnership in Phoenix between a woman that does tutoring for elementary school kids and a bookshop. Any parent that's in there in the bookstore, they get a referral if their kid needs help in school to the woman that does the tutoring. And every kid that gets an A, she gives them a $5 gift card back to the bookstore that she gets to buy for $2, right? Because of the marketing that goes along with it. We've got another auto mechanic. If your car is going to be in his shop for more than 2 hours, he gives you a free movie ticket and a lift around the corner to go watch a movie. There's a million ways that local businesses can collaborate and work together creatively to build new customers and build new partnerships. So think about regionally who's in the region you can work with. So that's what I brought for you here tonight, and I wanted to also mention the different types of programs that we run at Local First Arizona. We are a nonprofit organization working to strengthen Arizona's economy. We are the largest local business coalition in North America. We have 3,500 businesses in our online directory that gets searched about 70,000 times a month of people looking for local solutions. In addition, we run programs like you might see one that's called Weekend Getaway, where we get people to go out and explore Arizona. We've brought people here. We run the Rural Policy Forum. We brought 300 people into Graham County last summer to explore the area, and we made sure that they knew about all the wonderful assets and beautiful things that you have here to go see. We do this because Arizonans, we collectively spend $6.5 billion every year vacationing in California. Knock it off. So we're trying to redirect 10% of that out into our rural communities and get folks out exploring different parts of the state, whether it's wine country or going up north to witness the seasons and other such things. So that gives you a quick glimpse into all the different programs that we run. And if I can be helpful, let me know. And I'm going to hand it back to Kevin now. And good luck to all of you. I hope you all win.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming. We have a lot of work to do, don't we? We love thinking about buying local. we have so many resources here and so many opportunities here for us locally that I think we can take better advantage at. I think our small businesses locally, in many cases, are a dying breed, and it's time for us to bring those back. So as mentioned tonight, and again, part of this whole program, part of what the cohort's hopes and dreams were with this was to try and help to bring a little bit more light to resources, to availabilities to people, whether they're existing business owners, whether people are considering starting a new business, whatever they might want to do. And so the cohort has done a number of different things, this Shark Tank event tonight being one of those things. But again, trying to bring to light to the community that there are a number of resources available to you as the community, many of which are absolutely no cost or low cost to help you bring your business idea or concept to life, or to take your your existing business and to help it to grow and to help it get it nourished and help it to become bigger through those resources that you have. One of those resources that we have is a program which is called Dream Builder. We've referenced that a couple of times this evening. Some of our participants tonight came through that program as they prepared for this event this evening. And I've invited Charmaine Chittister, one of our business counselors from the Small Business Development Center over at EAC, to take a few moments and to explain that program to you and the availability of a huge amount of resources that HAT has to be able to help you take that concept that you might have and turn that into the dream of owning your own business. Charmaine, if you would.
Thanks, Kevin. You didn't tell me how to follow Kimber, though. That's a pretty hard act to follow. We love Kimber. So, hello, everybody. I didn't know I was going to speak tonight, so I did not prepare a PowerPoint. I'm sure you're all upset about that, right? No more PowerPoints. But no, as we're waiting for the judges, just killing some time, I wanted to tell you a little bit about Dream Builder if you haven't heard about it before. Dream Builder is an online platform that's free of cost, and it's targeted for women who want to start or grow their own business. It was created through Freeport-McMoRan and the ASU Thunderbird School of Global Management. And it started off actually in operating communities outside of the United States. So it started off in Spanish. So there's two versions out there. One of them is Spanish, and then the newer version of about 4 years ago is English. Spanish version has 12 modules. The English version has 13. And all you have to do to access it is go to dreambuilder.org. You log in, you set up an account, you answer a few questions, and you open up your first module. They're locked modules, so you have to go through one to get to the next one. But what you're able to do is you're able to have an online tutorial of how to start a business. So if you've been inspired tonight by everybody getting up here and talking, maybe you're thinking, golly, maybe I could do this, but I don't really understand what a target market is, and I don't know what my capacity is, what my ideal customer would look like, and how much money could I actually make or need to start the business. This is a great place to start. Or perhaps you have a mother or a sister or a best friend from college who's always talked about opening a business, but they've never really done anything about it. This is a great way to start building the business plan. The way that the modules work is there's a fictional character, Alma, and she walks you through Sarah, who's opening a business, and all of the challenges that she faces. And then each module, there's a little quiz at the end that you pass. It's pretty simple. But what you do is you add to a business plan by answering questions throughout the whole process. And so as you say, who is my target market? And you type things in. What kind of relationships will I need to have with vendors? What type of vendors will I need to set up an account with? You type that in. And at the end, you hit the magic button and you generate a business plan. And it takes all of those answers and it puts them in order. You dump it into Word. You can go customize it, add your logo, and voila, you're ready to go to the bank. You're ready to go to a partner. You're ready to sit it on your desk in your bedroom and go, I've got a business plan. You're already on a great road if you have that, because a lot of people start with just it being in their head and not actually having it on paper. And 3 months into it, you don't even remember what your goals were, right? So this is a great resource. And what we've done is we've actually run 3 different programs here. We've done it in Greenlee twice. We've done it in Graham once. We're going to do it in Graham again next year, probably in the fall. And what we do is we supplement the online courses, which you can do completely freestanding on your own. at your own pace. But what we do is we have about 2 modules between classes, and we meet twice a month, and I sit down with the students and we do a 2-hour seminar that goes deeper into the things that we talk about. We do a cash flow statement by hand with a pencil and a calculator. We talk about the psychology of marketing, and we go through a whole lot more than what is just in the program. So if you're interested or know somebody that might want to partake of that this fall, just let Kevin or I know. We'll get you on our mailing list so we can make sure that we let you know when that time comes, how to sign up for that. We have a minimum fee for that. We bring in food because a bunch of women gathering, you just need to have snacks. and it's a great program. Again, you can access it anywhere. So if you have somebody in New York or in Florida, you can tell them to go to dreambuilder.org and they can look at that program and go through it all by themselves. There's also videos of women that have opened their businesses, giving you tidbits, things that they've learned in the process. So as they say, smart people learn from their mistakes, wise people learn from others' mistakes. And so it's a great way to see real life stories like Kimber talked about. Everybody has a story. And what I loved, and I think the audience will probably agree with me, is there was a shift in demeanor when you guys were up here talking, and you'd be like, this is our growth, and this is my plan, and this is my building. And then when it shifted to the passion, when it shifted to the why of what you're doing, that's where I think everybody saw the excitement and understood what it is you were up here for. And so that is really important. Just like we talked about the golden circle, remember in our class, focusing on the why with Simon Sinek. So if you have any questions about Dream Builder, I'll be here after the program. You can inquire of anything you have with finding the program or our plans for having it in Graham County again this next year. But we're excited that Freeport was interested in investing in their operating communities in this way, because we do, especially in Greenlee County, sometimes it's harder for somebody to come to a class at EAC, and this is a way that anybody can access this educational opportunity no matter what their current education level is. Thank you so much.
So the reason I had Charmaine come up is that Charmaine is one of the champions of this program nationwide. On average, and I'm going to tell you why, and this is what's so amazing. On average, graduation rate through Dream Builder is what? 11%. What is Graham County and Greenlee County's graduation rate? 82%. 11% nationwide, 82%. And that is completely attributable to Charmaine and her efforts and the way that she's built this program and making that happen. So high success rates as we go through that. Before we get to the judges, we want to bring Kimber up for just one more moment and have her explain this micro-lending program that we addressed and the opportunities we have for our rural communities for that to happen. So.
Really fast. I just wanted to explain where the idea came from. So here in Graham County, it is pretty challenging to get a loan. And a lot of the banks here have underwriters that live far away from here. And so we pitched the idea for a micro-loan program. A lot of the bigger banks don't want to look at microloans. $5,000 to $25,000 is really hard to get that size of a loan because those larger banks don't look at it as worth the time and trouble. And so we started a microloan program thanks to the gracious support of Freeport-McMoran, and we formed a wonderful steering committee that oversees the loan program. So I just wanted to let everyone know in the community you can go online at our foundation website, localfirstazfoundation.org, and you will see right on the homepage a red button to apply for a microloan in Graham County. You can submit the application there. It's a quick 1 to 2 page application, and it comes to a review committee that oversees how those funds are going to be deployed. So if you have any additional questions about it, I would encourage you to email me, and anybody would like to apply. We are trying to grow jobs and stimulate the economy right here using those microloan funds. So I encourage you to get involved and see what you can find out on that website. Send us an application. Thanks so much.
Dun, dun, dun. Judges, how was your deliberations? What are your thoughts? Difficult decisions? Absolutely.
We
Preston,
realize all of these people, they put in a lot of effort into this 8 weeks worth of going to classes, and they put a lot of work into their business plan, and I think all of them, we need to be committed for that.
Absolutely. Let's give them another round of applause. Laura, how were the negotiations back there? Were they brutal? Fist fights? Wow. Who won? Of course, Laura. All right. I have the final tallies in front of me. Presenters, how are we doing? Let's just get it over with. All right. Judges, we are ready to go? Again, we thank you for your service tonight. This was a huge task for you to take on tonight. So, anyway, we have 3 businesses who have each won $500 amounts for their businesses. We want to congratulate well, the third one's kind of a third plus. Get all the right names up here real quick. Misty Thompson with Mystified Enlightenment, $500. Also $500 with Earthwork Farm and Bait, Mr. Joshua Ornelas. Also $500, Mr. Dallas Seminole with Dirty Beaver Brewing. The fourth business with $500 plus an advertising package, which includes, let me get all the information here for you. Advertising package provided by R Communications radio ads, a gift card from the EAC, or the Eastern Arizona Courier and WIC Communications, and branding from Trophies and Tees. Miss Sandra from Healthcare Registry. The winner of the branding package, over $1,000 worth of branding logo and a design package provided by CMI. $1,000 package goes to Jennifer Brice at the Fix Med Spa. How we doing? The rest of you are sitting here. The winner of $5,000 to go towards their business, Miss Loretta Tucson with Kinder Prep Academy. Francis, how we doing? You're the last one left. Again. The winner of $12,000 in funding, Francis Martinez and the Plank. Can we give all of our contestants a huge round of applause tonight? Another huge round of applause to our judges. Judges, thank you so much. Again, we want to thank all of our sponsors and prize donors, Freeport-McMoran Foundation, Local First Arizona Foundation, the Eastern Arizona College Small Business Development Center, Graham County Chamber of Commerce, CMI Quick Copy, R Communications, WIC Communications, and the Eastern Arizona Courier, Trophies and Tees, and as always, the David M. Player Center for the Arts. Terry and Heath, thank you so much for your hospitality tonight. Let's give all of our winners again another huge round of applause. It's been a long night, everybody. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you being willing to stay. Please come and congratulate the winners. We do want to get one big picture.
Hey, what's up?
On our YouTube channel, SBNN.
Oh, that's nice.
Go to Safford Bulldog News Network, our YouTube channel.
Alright, don't forget to go and watch it from the comfort of your own home and watch it. Watch it. Go watch it. Go to our YouTube channel, you know, Safford Bulldogs News Network. We're awesome. Hit that bell. Hit that notification bell.
Hit that notification bell so we can get all that toasty goodness, toasty goodness, toasty goodness. If you would like,
give us a like. And a like.
And a like.
And a like.
Give us a subscribe and subscribe.
Subscribe. Subscribe. Subscribe. On SBNN. So make sure you go to SBNN. We appreciate it, so go and do that because it's awesome.